Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. Hearthstone Rise of Shadows real season is full underway, and this is what we've got over the past day and a half. 10 new cards, we get a ton of stuff for Thief Rogue, we're getting a bunch of stuff for Heal Druid, we're getting more Fatigue Warlock support, we're getting more Fatigue Paladin support. I mean, whoa. There's some incredible stuff here, some extremely forced archetypes, but also some cards that you can just do many things with. Let's go take a look at all of these in detail. First up we have Big Bad Arc Mage, a 10 mana 6/6. At the end of your turn, summon a random 6-cost minion. Alright, cards that summon stuff at the end of your turn are always interesting, because opponent has to kill them. You can't just leave them up, they will kill you. Or they won't, but the stuff that they summon will. But costing 10 mana, that's a huge investment. Of course, because it's an end of turn effect, so you're getting this and you're getting another 6-drop. So you're kind of getting around 11-12 mana worth of stuff, but spending every single point of mana. That has to do something immediately, typically, and depending on the 6-drop you get, it might not. And even if you get a good 6-drop like something like Argent Commander with Charge, it's at the end of turn, you can't use it anymore at that point. So this card is actually, this is not playable as a 10-drop. You have to be able to cheat this out. And the question is just, how do you cheat this out? Well, it would seem that Shaman has the most tools to do that, because Shaman has stuff like Muckmorpher and stuff like Eureka. So there's something there, maybe. Although Shaman would rather probably just play with Shadowbox and Hekatas, so is there enough incentive to use this? Hard to say. Then there's Geppetto Joybus, the weird, probably unusable legendary. And, well, it could draw this as a 1/1 that costs 1, then you could play that and start getting some 6-drops. So there are some tools that you might be able to use to cheat this out, but it's very unlikely that you would actually be able to build a deck around it. So most likely it will see no play. But the effect is interesting, and it would be fun to find a way to cheat it out on the board. Then we have a new Paladin spell, Desperate Measures. A 1-mana twin spell, cast a random Paladin secret. Well, Secret Paladin is getting some synergies here. So Commander Rissa has already been revealed. Your secrets trigger twice. It doesn't work with all secrets though. And it is a random secret, so you might get one that doesn't do anything with Rissa. Okay, there's no synergy between this and Bellringer's Entry. Bellringer's Entry actually requires you to have those actual secrets in your deck. And I have not been able to get an answer yet whether it works with Secret Keeper. Previous effects that put secrets into battlefield have not worked with Secret Keeper, even when they have been worded as plays. Yeah, Hearthstone and card text. You just have to memorize what is the actual thing that card does. This says cast. There is no other card like this yet. But it could also be just the case that it's just another wording that means the same thing and doesn't synergize with Secret Keeper. If it does synergize with Secret Keeper, that makes it a lot better because it's a twin spell, so you could play like Secret Keeper on 1 into double Desperate Measures on 2. So that would make it a lot more interesting. If it does not synergize with Secret Keeper, I don't think it's strong enough to see play. Then the mandatory weird rogue legendary of the set is Tak Noswhisker, a 7-mana 6/6. Whenever you shuffle a card into your deck, add a copy to your hand. So obviously you play Tak and then you prep out your Academic Espionage and you shuffle 10 cards from your opponent's class into your deck. That cost 1, that you get copies of as many of those as can fit in your hand and value. Or you use this with Togwaggle's Scheme and you shuffle something, whatever it is that you shuffle, and you get a ton of copies into your hand. Like you might play Tak and Pogo Hopper and Togwaggle Schemed Pogo Hopper. Is this the new Pogo Rogue card? Hard to say, it comes out very late, it's very low tempo. So it's a card that typically Rogue has never been able to use effectively. Rogue has had cards like this before, in the sense of what they do overall, and Rogue has never been able to use them, because Rogue has always been about tempo. But there are a few interesting applications of this, with Togwaggle Scheme, with Espionage, with Pogo Hoppers. Next up we have a new neutral legendary minion, and this is rumored to be the card that everyone is going to get for free, like Marin the Fox used to be. So, but we'll see about that one. 4 mana 2/6 Archmage Vargas. At the end of your turn, cast a spell you have cast this turn, targets a random, so one spell. At the end of turn you get one spell cast again, with random targets. So, obviously the first thing everyone thinks about is damage spells. Damage spells that are targeted, so those might end up going to your own face, or to your own minions, even to the Archmage himself. Maybe not that great, but there are also spells that are not targeted, and when targets are random and a spell is not targeted, then it always goes to right direction. So stuff like Mind Blast. Okay, you can have some of that. Or maybe you play this in some kind of a Spell Hunter deck, where you play stuff like Unleash the Beast, Twin Spell, summon a 5/5 Wyvern with Rush. So you play Vargot and Unleash the Beast, you get the 5/5 Rush Wyvern that hits into something. You summon another 5/5 Rush Wyvern at the end of your turn. Well, you don't get to use the Rush because it's at the end of the turn. But anyway, you get that. And the Twin Spell effect also goes in twice. So this is especially interesting with cards that do not require you to target anything, so that they always do the same function, or with cards that have Twin Spell, because then you have that ability to just duplicate it twice. It's hard to say what the exact decks will be like that will use Vargot, but it's a neutral legendary. This is a card that I really like, because this is a card that has a lot of potential applications and a lot of room for players to really build their own decks around this. This is not a forced archetype, and it will be fun to play around with this one. Next up we have Greenway Guardians, a 2 mana druid spell to summon 2 1/2 dryads with lifesteal. So 2 mana, 2 1/2s with lifesteal, that's like better than playing Firefly and the Flame Elemental on the same turn. Seems like a really interesting card for Token Druid, and also if there's some kind of Restoration or Heal Druid, then this might help in that archetype as well. Although for those purposes you mostly need to restore 5 health, so 1/2s might be a little bit on the low side. But Druid is getting a lot of token support. Token Druid, some kind of new Egg Druid. There's lots of things that can be done with these cards. And here is one thing that can be done with those cards. Life Weaver. A 3 mana 2/5 minion, so very nice stat line, very durable stat line. Whenever you restore health, add a random druid spell to your hand. So then you play Crystallizer on 1, Greenway Guardians on 2, Life Weaver on 3, hit with the Guardians, start getting some random druid spells. You build this all into some kind of Token Druid or Egg Druid core. Then the real question becomes the value of random spells. Random typically isn't great. Discovered is usually great, because it just explodes the odds of finding something useful. Those are so much better when you get to Discover. But there's definitely some kind of deck here, even if it's not very good. Then a new Paladin spell, Call to Adventure, 3 mana. Draw the lowest cost minion from your deck and give it +2/+2. And with the lifesteal spell that Paladin now has, and with Immortal Prelate, this is really pushing Immortal Prelate, Fatigue Paladin. Because, okay, in order to get value from the Immortal Prelate, you have to be able to draw that Immortal Prelate. And you can draw it in so many ways in Paladin right now. You can draw it with Crystology at the start. Not afterwards though, after you have buffed it, but at the start you can draw it with Crystology. You can draw it with Call to Adventure. You can draw it with Witchwood Piper. And if you're really building an Immortal Prelate deck, then why not just use all the tutors? You tutor it, you play it, you buff it, you fight, it dies, you tutor it again, you play it, it fights, you tutor it again. This is really pushing the Immortal Prelate as a build-around card. It's best to have your polymorphs and hexes and silences ready in the new expansion. Another archetype that is being pushed is Thief Rogue. Underbelly Fence. 2 mana 2/3 with a battle cry. If you're holding a card from another class, gain +1/+1 and Rush. I think this card is insane. 2 mana 3/4 with Rush if you're holding a card from another class. This might even make Pilfer playable, and Pilfer is a bad card. Pilfer's add random card to your hand from your opponent's class. Hallucination was so much better, but you just play Pilfer on 1 into Underbelly Fence on 2. The only problem is that if you're playing in a Rogue Mirror, then it doesn't work. Then you need cards that actually allow you to get cards from another class. Cards like Stolen Steel, for example. Discover a weapon from another class. And in this sort of deck you would always also play Blink Fox. So you play Blink Fox on 3, you get the card on 4. Let's say you have a pair of Underbelly Fences, that's already a huge swing. Or if you activate the Underbelly Fence otherwise late in the game, it just acts as a combo activator. It's a 2-mana card after all, and it's a very powerful 2-mana card. So it leaves a lot of free mana that you can use to activate combo effects. This card is absolutely bonkers, and Thief Rogue is getting pushed so hard right now. It actually starts to look playable. On the subject of having your hexes, polymorphs and silences ready, let me present Lucent Bark, a new Druid legendary card. 8 mana, 4/8 taunt, with a death rattle to go dormant, restore 5 health to awaken this minion. So this is the new Sherasin Corpse Flower, which hasn't seen play lately, but at one point it did see a lot of play, and just Sherasin coming back and back again for more, that was really annoying. Unless you were the one who was playing with it like I was, and then it was really fun. And Lucent Bark, well, it comes out very late in the game, 8 mana. It doesn't have an immediate effect, but it does have Taunt. Without Taunt this would be completely useless, but even though it doesn't have a battle cry, it has Taunt, so okay, it might be playable. Then there's the question of how difficult this condition is to fulfill. Restore 5 health. I mean, you don't even have to restore that to yourself, you can restore it to your minions or anything. So that doesn't seem too difficult. Druid is now getting a lot of heal support, so okay, there's a decent chance that you can revive this. And then, because you're playing Druid, you have cards like Floppidinous Flop. So you play Lucent Bark, and the following turn you play Floppidinous Flop has another Lucent Bark. And then you can put in cards like the Undertaker into your deck. Gain the death rattle effects of 3 friendly minions that died this game. And if one of those death rattle effects is to go dormant, then you will actually have a dormant Lucent Bark on the board. So you have the ability to, in theory, create 3 Lucent Barks when you're playing Druid. One from Lucent Bark itself, one from Floop, one from Undertaker. And then there's Faceless Manipulators and stuff. If you really want to go woke, then you can have so many Lucent Barks. The huge push to make Heal Druid viable just might end up making it viable. Even though this card is coming very, very late, so it is a slow card, and that's the main concern about it. But the potential to get so many of these out there, it's just crazy. It's another day, it's another plot twist for Warlock. Well, we got the actual plot twist on Saturday. And now we got the Aranasi Broodmother, a 6 mana 4/6 demon with Taunt, and an effect when you draw this, restore 4 health to your hero. Typically these effects when you draw something are absolutely ridiculously bad, because you cannot guarantee your draws in any meaningful way in a card game, on average anyway. But right now Warlock is being given cards that allow Warlock to tutor for their draws much more. And already when Plot Twist was revealed, it was obvious that okay, we can do Plot Twist and we can do Augmented Elac, and if we do Plot Twist Augmented Elac and we shuffle 2 copies of everything into our deck and then draw a new replacement hand, then we're avoiding fatigue forever. We can never fatigue. And we can keep doing that shuffle, Aranasi Broodmother can be part of that shuffle, we can draw lots of Aranasi Broodmothers, so we can get healing through that. We can mix up the Fellowlord Petruk out there, which will be a disastrously bad card in every other deck, except for very, very specific niche deck that focuses on this cycle. But in the one that focuses on this cycle, Petruk out there, Aranasi Broodmothers coming with Rush. And they die at the end of turn, of course, but still. So when Plot Twist was reviewed, I lamented on the lack of healing for Warlock, and that being the major obstacle to actually building any kind of Fatigue Warlock, but that might have been solved now. That's a really crazy push, and lots of things can go wrong with the archetype. It might not be that easy to make it work, but Warlock has a lot of removal. And Warlock has a lot of card draw, because all they need to do is press that button to draw more cards. So with the Infinite Cycle engine and with healing from Aranasi, that just might be it. That was yet another big reveal day, so this new expansion is looking really solid. It is pushing a lot of archetypes. I don't really like that they have decided clearly that stuff like Heal Druid, Thief Rogue, Fatigue Warlock, these are being pushed very hard. But there's also stuff like Archmage Vargas. Neutral, interesting effect, lots of ways to build around it, so interesting expansion. We have 2 more days of reveals to come, and I will be reviewing the cards as they come out. Stay tuned for more. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel for more.